then when you're looking at those kind of trees, they have these massive, well, not necessarily those kind of trees because they hold together because of their height and closeness, right? Isn't that how they stand? But the thing is, you're looking at root systems and underground. Look at all the caves and caverns and everything else that are out there. When people want to question whether or not something that size could hide from us, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and of course, I would think that they would have a similar habitat or living area as like bears. Like, and people want to say you mistake them for one or the other. That's like saying a fox is not a fox, and really they're all coyotes. There could be different types of large beings that are able to live in different kinds of areas. So to me, it makes sense that if in an area where you see a lot of bears and they're able to survive and live, obviously another large animal could as well. And the people that run across Bigfoot, I'm telling you, you could not convince them that they saw a bear. You know? There are not these conventions and these things going on. That's like if right now we wanted to tell people that, yeah, somebody who's seen a UFO, no, you saw a regular plane. Like they'd be like, no, I'm sorry, it was a saucer. It lit up my whole backyard. I don't think planes are landing in my backyard, right? So, I mean, so I find that to be really interesting. Okay, so was David Pilatus over at that convention by any chance? Maybe next year. Well, the thing that I found interesting is when you talk about like tribes or the Indians and things that have like relayed, what they've seen and everything like that. He actually spent, I want to say 2 years. I can't remember if that's accurate. David Pilatus, I think it was 2 years with a certain tribe of Indians, and he was like researching Bigfoot like through them, and he just stayed right with them and listened to all their stories, all the legends and things like that. And I think a lot of his studies, although he doesn't ever say what it is his findings are, but I think he kind of leads you to believe, or you make the association yourself naturally that it's Bigfoot. And it's interdimensional, which is why I always ask you how you feel about that. Yeah, yeah. Were any of the speakers kind of targeting the idea of it being an interdimensional creature, or were most people thinking more like like a species that hasn't been proven of like an animal type? Like, which way do most people go? Do they think like an intelligent being, more like humanoid, or do they think just like more like a bear, like but a different creature? I mean, a different animal. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. True. And I don't necessarily know exactly which way I would believe it to be. I mean, I'm kind of just open to like whatever evidence is brought forth. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like he's for sure interdimensional. However, there seems to be a lot of correlation between like the Bigfoot sightings and things like that around the granite, which seems to be like related to portals a lot of times, and the fact that one second somebody sees something, the next second they're gone. A lot of the missing people, different things like that. Why do you think that there's so many different names describing Bigfoot, like Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot? Why do you think there's so many different names for them? Okay. Okay. So when people go to another country and stuff like that, and they have like the different sightings or the different evidence, have you ever considered or have you gone internationally looking for Bigfoot or their species of Bigfoot? Hmm. You're like, I'm out of time. Like Russia. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. I think we talked about it the last time, those kids that actually got that on film. Was anybody talking about that as a piece of evidence up at the convention? Because I mean, I thought that was a great. I think it was very realistic. I don't think those kids would be able to act. I don't think they could find fresh snow and sweep it over and get that on take one. I'm sorry, I've been around groups of kids. Just organizing them all to eat at the same picnic table is hard. I mean, so I really just don't think that they all plan that out themselves. Me too. Hmm. So, what do you think the difference is between, say, like, okay, you have a show, a radio show, or you're podcasting. Then you've got the people that are on, basically like the Sci-Fi Network or Discovery Channel, whatever. And then you've got groups that aren't related at all to any sort of media whatsoever, and they're doing it. Okay, so as like paranormal ghost hunting, I think Chris can basically confirm that there's a big difference between the groups that are looking for fame versus the groups that are just out there donating their time, their energy, their own money, their own funds, their own resources. There's a big difference. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah, and so I mean, does that same sort of situation happen in the Bigfoot community? Do you think there's like a big difference between that, or do you think it's less affected by media? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Okay, and so, well, their information like that, what are they going to do with it? Like, how would any of us access that? I mean, like, what are they going to do with it? Just keep it a secret or suddenly just go live with somebody they trust? Or, I mean, how are they going to get that information out there or don't they even care to? Okay, yeah. No, I know it makes sense. It's just like that chupacabra over in Georgetown, remember? Chupacabra, but really it was a hairless bear who actually had like the major. The guy was on the news and Bush. Well, anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's important to really know what it is you're presenting as evidence. I get that. Hmm. Okay. Right, that's so true. So, what is your next hunt? I know you did just tell me you were going down in uh, the southern where yeah, Alabama. So who's all going on that trip? Okay. What town is it? Or don't you want to say? Okay, you have to, while you're in California, well, I think this might be northern, or it might even be a little bit of Oregon. I'm not sure, but Ruth Lake. Look up Ruth Lake. I mean, yes. And that's one of them you need to put on your list for when you're out here because, I mean, there are a lot of people that hear things out there and it's like really desolate. Yeah. Yeah, the Lemurians. Is that who you heard about? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of people who think that's a pretty mystical place, Mount Shasta. I mean, I've only been up there a couple times, but I have heard of a lot of people seeing lights and different things happening up there. It's pretty interesting. Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so why don't you give everybody some of your websites or things like that, ways that they can keep up with you. Just before, and we have about 5 more minutes, but I just want to make sure we get that out there. It seems like it was great. I mean, just from the pictures and all the information you've received. I mean, can anybody watch any kind of filming or links or anything from the conference? Hmm. Right. Okay. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, I am so happy that you took the time. I know you had to find a good spot for signal and everything else. And I just want to thank you so much for being on my show. You're always such a welcome guest, and you always have, thank you. And you always have such great information and everything. I know you could talk about Bigfoot forever, and I have always so many questions. And now with the show only being an hour, we can't cover everything on my mind, but is there anything else that you'd like to add to, Bigfoot or just the idea or anything convincing or anything that you think somebody should look up if they had the chance in order to kind of see the side that we all see on this? Yeah.
All right, sounds good, man.
We will definitely. If I would have known you were here, we could have planned something. You know what I mean? He's literally an hour from here.
Yeah,
I
totally.
can't even believe it. I feel like driving over by you. I'm just being like, all right, let's go. Let's go do some ghost hunting. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely include you on that. That would be great. We've got some great places that we want to, go hunt around and have some remote shows and things like that. I've got a lot of ideas for this year, for this season. So I'm really excited. And I love kicking off the month of October with some cool ideas and different things with Halloween and all the spooky things out there. This is a fun month. So thank you so much, Ed, for being on the show. I really appreciate all of your time, and I hope you have a great time in California. All right, thank you so much. And everybody, that was Ed Brown. Look him up and stay tuned for the dirt next week. We'll be on the same time. If you only caught part of the show, it's going to be playing again tonight from 9 to 10 p.m. So feel free to tune in. It won't be live, but tune in tonight. And then next week, stay tuned for the Safari Real Estate Show and the dirt. Everybody, have a great night.
we live in, there's no substitute for preparation. That's why Yuba City has the Patriot Store, offering gold and silver coins and bullion to help protect you against financial collapse, emergency supplies of food, so you and your family can be ready for almost any eventuality, ammunition in almost all types and sizes. The Patriot Store helps provide peace of mind through preparedness. The Patriot Preparedness Store in the parking lot of the Target Shopping Center in Yuba City. You're listening to KMYC Marysville, 1410 AM, The Patriot, Marysville and Yuba City's #1 talk station.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. Sad news after 3 police officers were shot in Palm Springs, California.
2 of the 3 officers are deceased.
Police Chief Brian Reyes.
The deceased officers, Officer Jose Gil Vega. He is a 35-year veteran of the Palm Springs Police Department. He was due to retire in December. He was working on a shift he was not scheduled to work on. He chose to work overtime today. The second officer is Leslie Zrebny, 27 years old. She's been on our police department for a year and a half. She just gave birth to a 4-month-old baby.
The third officer is being treated in the hospital. The cops were responding to a domestic dispute in downtown Palm Springs when a gunman opened fire and fled. He is still on the loose. Communities in the Carolinas and Georgia are dealing with power outages and more from Hurricane Matthew.
A tremendous amount of tree damage throughout the county, and there are still some roads that's impassable because of water.
Al Scott, Chatham County Chairman in Georgia, the storm is now dumping torrential rain on parts of North Carolina and Virginia. The Trump campaign in damage control after a video was released in which the GOP candidate made offensive sexual remarks about women. There's an avalanche of reaction.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who's endorsed Trump, tweeted, quote, "Donald's comments were vulgar, egregious, and impossible to justify." In response to the crisis, the Republican National Committee has halted some of its direct mail messaging and some other messaging projects in anticipation of Trump changing his message in hopes of trying to fix his problem with women voters.
Fox's Carl Cameron. Some Republicans are calling on Trump to end his presidential campaign. He says he is staying in the race. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
We're mixing business with politics to give you the bigger picture on Fox Business Network, featuring dynamic political programming that has more people tuning in than ever before. Special reports from the team viewers trust, Bartiromo, Regan, Dobbs, and Cavuto. And from the debates right up to the election, expert insight and smart analysis you won't find anywhere else. For political coverage that's on the money, it's got to be Fox Business Network.
Shepard Smith reporting is a new way to get the news. There's breaking news now on Fox News Channel. I'm excited about this because my role has changed a lot. I'm kind of acting as quarterback, and I get to call the shot. I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about this. We're trying to be game changers. We've created all of this so that we can get news